This week on College Success Coaching, we talk about how to survive doom. That's not what we're doing at all. Wait, Halloween's over? Wait, what? Wait, Halloween's over? Check out on YouTube the other article review that I do about Halloween changing and trick-or-treating changing. I think it's being reduced and killed off, but this article talks about how it doesn't change at all. You're going to find about more things than that as we go through this week in College Success Coaching. This week's article I have linked in the questions and answer, and it is linked in the description if you are watching this on YouTube. And please do take a look. If you are looking at this on YouTube, check that out. I'd love to have you all join in on the subscribers version of this. You get to ask your own questions. I will answer them. I will be able to talk to you more and longer and be able to get in more stuff. You'll get to hear more rants and raves. You get to see more of the things that I think are important for you as a student. We'll go over more topics broadly. There's resources, there's information. You get discounts on one-to-one time with moi. So there's all kinds of reasons for you to check it out. It's a 2-week free trial. Feel free to try it out. And then if you don't like it, you're crazy. But you can always just stop being on it. And it's cheap. It's only $50 a week. I like to be transparent. And you get all the great content that we do every week. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us here on YouTube. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's always great to see people on there. But if you want to hear the questions and answers, you're going to have to go to www.collegesuccesscoaching.com to find out more. Okay, so let's have you guys find out about the article of the week. How school start times affect high school athletes. Catching more sleep could help student athletes catch more touchdowns, but some still argue sports schedules are a reason against moving back the first bell. It's a really fancy title. This is going to talk about when school starts because it actually has a lot of arguments and debates about it for a long time that has to do with, like, should you sleep in as a high school student? Should you not sleep in? Are sports more important? Is it worse to have sports when it's dark and later? The reason why I bring this up right now is a couple of reasons. One, fallback, right? So we all turn the clocks back. So now you're starting to feel the impact of dark early. So if you're looking at getting out of school at 4:30, it is dark out, like legitimately dark out, especially on a cloudy day like today in the New England area. It's very, very dark. So, you really start to feel that and appreciate, like, wow, I'd really love to have some sun at the end of the day. But also, if you remember the 5th of November. That's another article for another time. If you're watching on YouTube or you're some of the subscribers, go ahead and check that article out. I think I'll be posting that right after this one. So we'll talk about Guy Fawkes Day, don't worry. But if you remember on Saturday, it was very, very dark in the morning, like stupid dark at a very late time. So, it was really bizarre. And I'm not like super happy about that. So there's a lot of rub on both ends. It's tough when it just gets darker earlier and it's dark in the morning later. But this is why this is such a debate, because it does affect your brain. It does affect learning. It does affect sports. So all of these things have to be considered. So let's begin with this article. This article is written by Alex Putterman, and this is from The Atlantic. This is my second Atlantic article today. This is showing up the U.S. News and World Report a little bit. On March 13th, the Board of Education in Sag Harbor, New York, a wealthy town of the eastern end of Long Island, sat down to discuss what time local schools should start. The principal question in front of the board was simple. Should Pearson Middle High School, which is located in Suffolk County, New York, do you care what county? I mean, unless you're from New York, like nobody else cares, maintain its 7:30 a.m. start time or push back the opening bell to allow students more sleep in the morning? So this is that they're setting up the debate. Later start times have been long a pet cause for the board member Susan Lamontagne, a health advocate and Sag Harbor parent. In 2013, Lemontang, I'm just going to say Lemontang. That's not how you say her name, but Susan Lemontang founded the Long Island chapter of Start School Later, a national. Wow, that's a really, really original name. A national organization that lobbies school districts to alter their schedules. A year later, she led a successful effort to push back start times at Pearson by 10 whole minutes. I mean, it's a victory. Who doesn't want 10 more minutes? Just unsatisfied with that modest change. Well, at least they said so. I wasn't going to. She ran for the board in 2016, promising even later bells. Just the bells. Now she was again bringing the cause to Sag Harbor, and this meeting was the first step toward change. She knew resistance. There's always resistance. Resist going to school later. She knew there would be resistance. There always was, but she hoped Sag Harbor residents could get on board with an 8 a.m. start time. I mean, that's not super unreasonable. That was earlier than the pediatrician recommended 8:30 a.m. time, but at least it was later than 7:35 a.m. I mean, how many of you, and I'm going to make a poll real quick in here. This is bananas. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please comment below. What is the time that you actually start school? If you're in high school, or if you remember, if you were in high school, when did you start high school? Like, what was the time? What was the start time for your high school? And I make before 7:30 a.m., 7:30 a.m.-ish. And then we'll add another choice. Well, guys, this is not just a yes or no poll. And in the comments, it's a lot easier, I guess. And then after 7:30 a.m., I'm really interested to know. I actually, like, it's weird to me. Like, our start time, I think, was 8:45 a.m., but we didn't have football at our high school, so it didn't really matter if it was super early. But I know that there are some schools that start ridiculously early. I mean, but 7:35, like, that's just insane. So let me know what you think in the comment section or in the Q&A. I really would love to know. All right, let's keep going here. So when it came time for public input, Don O'Brien, who is this, made it clear that resistance to a 25-minute delay would be hard to overcome. All of a sudden, Don O'Brien comes swooping into this article. Okay. You are putting our student athletes at a disadvantage by having them get out at 3 o'clock. O'Brien, a father of 2 Sag Harbor elementary school students, and a varsity soccer coach in a nearby town. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Told the board, every single contest that we play next year will be affected by a 3 o'clock time. Every practice and every single game. See? People get angry. So then another Sag Harbor parent, Rich Parello, took the microphone and decried what he saw as the district's apathy toward athletics. Yeah, those school districts not caring enough about the athletics, said no debate team or band member or art class member ever. But, I digress. It seems like there's a disconnect here between the people who are making decisions and the kids who actually want to play the sports, he said. Rich Parello for president. In O'Brien and Parello's view, Pearson's athletic programs wouldn't survive delayed start times. They would wither and die. Sag Harbor is located at the east end of Long Island, and its student athlete must often travel long distances to games in other districts. That's a real problem. Later dismissal, the parents worried, could make getting to games on time more difficult. They'd have to leave really early. So, then they're being affected academically more. You see how this is, not easy. Seriously, it's not easy. I'm making fun of these people, but, anyway, it's not easy. Plus, O'Brien and Parello pointed out, Pearson students share some sports teams with neighboring high schools, and coordinating practice could be tough if those schools start and end at different times. Right. So this is now we have to coordinate with another school. We have to make this work. It's a lot of problems. But Lemon Tang, who views start times as a school student health issue, is just as fervent about her cause as O'Brien and Parello are about theirs. The lineup: O'Brien, Parello, Tang. In the battle for when we're going to go to school. Mortal Kombat. It's not. Anyway, I don't have any special effects on here, so just all the awesome sound you hear, that's all me, in case you couldn't tell. I have been involved in this issue for many, many years, and I have yet to see around the country a community that raised this issue where the sports community didn't come out and panic, she told me. The pattern is that they panic every time. The concerns are the same, and every single time the concerns get addressed. Wait, okay. Wouldn't it be weird if the concerns were different every time? Not to spoil the middle of this article, but this person comes and says, this is a health issue. We really need to have school start later. Fine, check mark. Isn't, again, that always the same issue that she brings up in her organization that is literally named the thing she's trying to do? What was it called? Start school later? a national organization that lobbies school districts to alter their schedules. So she's the single issue person who then complains that they complain every time about the same thing in a contradiction to her own issue that she brings up. So then these people say, well, it's the same issue every time. This is affecting our sports. This is affecting our student athletes. That's not a small thing. Listen, I talk about this on the channel all the time. I talk about this with you guys. Sports and activities are extremely valuable to participate in and become a leader in over the course of your high school career as far as getting into good colleges is concerned. It really is a good thing to do. So if you are sports inclined, if you're athletic at all, and you can jump into a leadership role on a sports team for 3 or 4 years, that's really great investment in getting into a better college than your grades alone would support. So this is not stupid. This is not a non-issue. It's like it's a health issue versus a career and an excellence issue, a success issue, which both are near and dear to my heart. But she's complaining that they panic every time about the same thing, as she complains about the same thing. I mean, again, you hear me tell you this stuff all the time. I get nuts about terribly written articles and really poor argumentation. This is both. Anyway, Sag Harbor continues. It mirrors similar conversations in districts across the country. Like she said, hundreds of schools in 44 U.S. states have already delayed start times in response to sleep science research. So there's science and research on this, and it's pushing people to change it. But in more than a few other districts, attempts to push back the opening bells have failed because of the kinds of concerns being voiced on Long Island. Right. So some schools outweighed the risk of health and getting up early not being so great with really, we don't want to deprive these students and athletes with more opportunities and potentially hurting their academics. The research on school start times is unequivocal. Teenagers' sleep cycles differ from those of adults. Okay, mine differs from other adults. While an adult or a young child may have no trouble dozing off at 10 p.m., adolescent bodies aren't wired to fall asleep before 11 p.m. So go ahead and tell your parents that. See if they care. You want to go to bed later. Your body's like hot. It's on fire until about 11. Adolescent bodies. So if students are asked to wake up at 6 a.m. for a 7:30 a.m. first bell, they will struggle to record the recommended 8 to 10 hours of sleep or anything close to it. How many of you guys actually get that much sleep? When I was in high school, anyway, I was not super healthy in my sleep schedule in high school. And hopefully you're better than I am because you have a me. And I wish I had a me when I was in high school. And I'm being serious about this, not being facetious. I wish I had somebody I could look up to who was telling me, dude, you need to get more sleep. I probably would have done even better. Not that I didn't do well. I kind of killed it, but I'm kind of bragging about that. Humble brag. I didn't get enough sleep, but I did very well in high school. Don't try that at home, kids. It really wasn't smart. And I really put myself at risk health-wise. I was not a healthy weight and I didn't get enough sleep. And it probably took years off my life, honestly. So yeah, I wish I had a me to tell me this. And this article is absolutely correct that if you're going to bed at 11 and you're getting up at 6, that's 7 hours. Your recommended number is 8 to 10. You're just falling way short. So here's the other side of this, though. If you had an 8 a.m. start and you still had to get up at 7:30 and you went to bed at 11:30, it's still not really hitting that mark. So, props for trying, but it's still not quite there for the 10 hours. But sleep deprivation has consequences. Studies have shown teenagers perform better in school when they're more rested. They're less prone to depression. That's a big deal. Less vulnerable to car accidents. Yeesh. And more likely to wear seatbelts and bicycle helmets. Is that because the same people that think enough to get enough sleep are the same people that think enough to wear seatbelts and bicycle helmets? Or is it literally that getting more sleep tells your brain wear helmets and wear seatbelts? I really think it's the former. You got to look into these articles. Like, what kind of argument? This is correlation is not causation. Repeat it with me. Correlation is not causation. You know what? This is basically my rant of the week mixed in with the article of the week. This is just bananas. Erratic, irregular sleep patterns and insufficient or inadequate amounts of sleep for everyone, especially adolescents, is damaging, says Amy Wolfson, a sleep researcher at Loyola University, Maryland. There you have it. Amy Wolfson said so. Not just her. Everybody says it's bad to have that. But the AMA, the American Medical Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics have formally recommended that middle and high school starts no earlier than 8:30 a.m. Good luck. Now, like I said, mine started at 8:45, and I think they backed it up to like 8:30 to match the other schools in our district because ours got up very, very late. But that was because we had a lot of farmers, I think, and they were just trying to cater to morning chores because those kids were getting up at like 5:30 and 6 a.m. to do chores before they went to school. Before they went to school, do you know how easy you have it? Anyway, yeah, so I'm the exception. We got up really late for school. It's like not hard to get to school at 8:45. Still, delayed start times find enemies across the country. You know, this, I wonder what the article's author would prefer. Can you figure it out? Write it in the comments section. Everybody thinks that the way to do it is in the district is the only way and it's the best way to do it, says Tara Zipperin Snyder. Who are these people? Do you know so many people with crazy last names? Anyway, the executive director of Start School Later. So the person from that organization also thinks that you have to step outside your own school district and realize you have to do what she says. Turns out that community life revolves around public schools rather than vice versa. Tone setting. That's actually a valid argument. I like it because it's actually different. At Sharon High School in Massachusetts, where the start time was bumped in 2010 from 7:25 a.m. to 8:05 a.m., Principal Jose Labano, thank you for having a readable name, simply asked competing schools if they could schedule games slightly later. Oh, go figure, he picked up the phone. When coaches at his high school worried that extra warm-up time gave opposing teams an advantage, he told opponents they couldn't arrive for games in Sharon until students were out of the class. See, they took care of the academics too. On the road, Sharon officials warned referees players might need a few extra minutes of preparation before starting games. It's almost like if you think, use common sense, and speak your mind and just make demands for what your players need, you can take care of the kids and get up later. Weird. While that seems like that's a really easy answer, I doubt every school has a coach and a principal and a superintendent and a school board that's willing to really stand up for their students and say that stuff. So let's, just pump the brakes a little bit on that. If you think like, oh, it's so easy. Like also Massachusetts is a little bit more understanding of health and awareness of student health and physical well-being and all that. It's a little bit different than like Texas, for instance, where football is like really, really important. Not that it's not really important in Massachusetts, but you tell me that you think they're the same. I know. Anyway, this article honestly goes on and on and on and on. But the point is, this is a real debate. And why do I bring this up for you guys? What is the value of talking about this for especially like sophomores in high school? What's the value here? Well, the value is pretty simple in my mind. The value is that you could be a part of this discussion. Your school, just your school. You don't have to be in the national discussion, the national debate. Not everything has to be national. Guess what? It can also be local. You could be a part of how your school runs. There's no reason on earth why you can't go to a school board meeting. There's no reason on earth why you can't talk to coaches, talk to parents, talk to people in your community, and just ask, do we really need all of us to get up so early for school? Now, I, as a parent, it drives me nuts to have to get up super, super early for no good reason to have a kid get ready to go to school and leave and get out the door at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's stupid, quite honestly. I don't see the value in it. And, when you go so early, you get home so early, which is also not conducive to people who work real jobs, 9-to-5ers, like a lot of people in the country. So adjusting your schedule or just leaving kids at home alone at a time of the day where they have no business being home already, I mean, what is the value here? If kids went to school and they left for a 9 a.m. school, so they got on the bus at 8:15 to 8:30, and then they got home at the same time almost as parents, don't you think maybe that would benefit everybody in the community instead of, well, we got to get them there at like 7:30 in the morning, and then we got to get them home by like 2:30 in the afternoon, and you're not going to be home for another 2.5 hours. But hey, that's what microwave meals are for, right? This is definitely into the rant of the week. I mean, this stuff is just so stupid and common sense dumb. Guess what? It doesn't matter how early you went to school today. It was still dark out for football practice. You have lights in the stadium. If you don't, you go to somebody who does. Petition for it. Like, problem solved, people. But there's no reason why you can't figure out how to get this as a sophomore in high school. Centering myself. Remember the 5th of November. Anyway, this has been the article of the week. I do want to get into some questions and answers, and I do want to answer them in a timely manner. But yeah, let's just answer some questions. All right, number one question. I don't have a debate team. How do I get one? Wow, that's a really good question. So how do you get a debate team? So first, you have to find a teacher who's willing to sacrifice their Saturdays and be with you every weekend, or most weekends, from about September until June every year. And they also have to be willing to pair up with a couple of other people for different events maybe and share the load so they don't all have to just, like, one person has to do everything. I would suggest getting 3 to 4 people in the faculty who are great speech and debate coaches. Those are your English teachers, duh. But like also like a history teacher or a persuasion teacher, so like a speech and language teacher, or the law teacher or the psychology teacher. These are people who will be great for you. Also the art teacher maybe, or if you have a drama program, maybe somebody who's in the drama program who wants to kind of step out of that role and help out with dramatic interpretation or humorous interpretation, something like that. More of the performance pieces of speech and debate, prose and poetry. So you get them and you ask them, can you coach us? If they can't, ask them, who would you go to coach us in a debate program, in a speech program, speech and debate? So find out. Maybe it's somebody outside. Then you would go to the principal. You would go to a school board meeting and you would say, I want to petition to have a speech and debate program here. If nobody else wants to do it, email me. Seriously, Eric Allen at collegesuccesscoaching.com. You know what? I'm going to keep this on for YouTube. I was going to cut out and just have this for members. This is very important to me. Speech and debate is one of the things that literally saved my life. I don't mean that. That's not hyperbole. It literally saved my life. It gave me a reason to live. It gave me a reason to fight and try. It gave me skills. It gave me networking. It gave me amazing things that really made my life as good as it is today. And as my mug says, life is good. And that's thank you. And shout out to Keith Brocious, who is just a phenomenal person. And he was an amazing debate coach, a great mentor, like a father-like figure to a lot of people who he changed their lives through the speech and debate program. I cannot stress enough how good a program like that is for everybody. If you're not in it, try it out. If you are in it, stay in it. If you've tried it and you didn't like it, get in another one. Do it again. But there's also speech and debate clubs in the community. But grab somebody or talk to me and I'll help you get in touch with people in your area. I know people all over the country, so we'll get it figured out. And that person with you would register to be in either the CFL or the NFL. So that's the National Forensics League, or it's the Catholic National Forensic League. So either one or both. It's great to do both because they both have their own nationals and things. And then you have a district also for your state, usually, that is involved in debate. Or there's just local debates that run around your area, depending on what state you're in. So it really is kind of state to state, but there are national leagues, so you can participate in national tournaments. There's a lot of cost involved. Be ready to fundraise, be ready to petition your school. But hey, if you're in speech and debate, that's great practice, right? So these are some things to consider. It's all worth it. It's all great practice. Even if you don't get it up and running yourself in the beginning, hey, you could make it work for the next generation. It's never too late to have a really robust speech and debate program. Don't let them die. There's too many things that we lose in high school, and it can't all be about the sports. It's got to be about academics and scholastic activities as well. I mean, hey, I'd be an advocate for the chess competing or the chess championship and be producing grandmasters out of your school if I could, but one thing at a time. If that's what you're into, try that too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the rant of the week. I hope that you were into what it is that we're talking about with the school time. And I hope that you really consider the speech and debate thing. And please do reach out. Seriously, even if you're on YouTube and you're not not a subscriber, if you aren't, like, I don't know why you're not, just jump onto the website, collegesuccesscoaching.com. Go on. It's a free 2-week trial. See what it's all about. There's a lot of resources in there. I have a lot of other things that we do every week. And you can check a lot of these live streams out. And they're really interesting. So, also like and subscribe, hit the notification, get on Facebook. We're on there. It's College Success Coaching, Instagram at College Success Coaching. And you can check out our videos on YouTube, which is where you're at if you're on YouTube. So, wow. If you're not though, check out the other videos and let me know what you think. Seriously, comment and contact Eric Allen at collegesuccesscoaching.com. Thanks everybody. I really appreciate everybody being here and have a great night.